Origin Oil, Riggs Eckelberry in studio, the CEO, founder, and brother of the celebrity chief inventor. Is he chief inventor or chief invention officer? What is he called?
Inventor, for God's sake.
Chief inventor. Well, I don't know. You know, the guy invents
officer.
Chief. He needs to be
Palo Alto. This is Southern California.
We make real money.
Chief invention officer.
Hey, I promised our listeners and our viewers last time you were on the air that we'd kind of talk about the genesis of your company and kind of what changes you've made over the last 6 months, because you guys are the developer of this breakthrough energy production process called this clean-frac. When I met you, you guys were delivering boxes to oil rigs and licensing the technology, and that was sort of your focus. Not only do you have that as a business model, but you've got several other business models now. So let's talk about like where you were. Remember, we promised about taking you through the journey, and you may have had this planned all along and kept this from me, which I hold against you. But was this part of the plan? Did you guys know this was going to go this far?
Well, Sully, I think that you caught us right in the middle of a pivot.
Yeah, we did.
All right?
Yeah, sure.
So where the company was originally was, wow, we're going to make algae work industrially as fuel. Mm-hmm. And it turned out that we were really good at harvesting the algae and also keeping it, increasing shelf life, reducing bacteria. Last year, about May, we discovered that, wow, we can do the same thing for old algae, which is petroleum.
Oh, yeah, you have to understand that. So algae's algae, just some of it's older that we run our cars on.
Exactly.
Okay, that's good.
So it's well cured,
Yeah, good. Well cured algae.
Exactly.
All right.
So the well cured algae, actually, we can pull that out of the water, and that created a whole new business for us, which we called clean-frac at the time. This went on because my brother will not stop.
Yeah.
And so we found that we could clean up aquaculture water. Now, that means something because there's now more farmed fish by dollar value in the world than farmed beef.
Now, what that means is they need food, right?
They need food. Not only that, people are living off of farmed fish more and more. And if they knew what I know about it,
you wouldn't eat farmed fish.
So
okay.
they need good food.
All right, no, that's good. All right, so this is
especially not from China.
Yeah,
okay.
all right, okay.
all right.
Note to self, no fish.
So now we discovered we could drop the ammonia down by 98.9% in the pond and kill the bacteria and viruses, which is a big deal in Southeast Asia right now. They got early mortality syndrome, which is killing the shrimp before they can reproduce. They got more than $1 billion a year in losses and counting because they can't do anything about it.
So if you can go cure that problem, would you, just on a business model basis for you, I mean, obviously, if you cure the problem, obviously they're going to want your technology. But on a business model basis, if you could save them $1 billion, wouldn't you want to take a piece of how much you save them? Is that the idea?
Yes, but I think it's a bigger market than that.
Tell me why.
Okay, because that's only Southeast Asia. You've got Ecuador, all of South America, even Europe, South France. Yeah. You've got a lot of areas where there's fish being cultivated, and it's booming because the oceans are becoming, frankly, sewers.
Yeah.
So here we are with perhaps, it's a $100 billion industry. What's the equipment value? Maybe $6 or $7 billion. We can get a serious chunk of that just from aquaculture.
And so on the aquaculture, so we go from being this clean-frac thing and taking it to even a bigger market. Now, can you guys manage a licensing deal that would cover everything, or do you have to do a new licensing deal for every industry you jump into? Now, if you dip into oil and gas, that's one thing. You dip into aquaculture, that's another thing. God knows what's going to be next for you guys. You're going to be cleaning up gray water facilities where gas stations used to be at. Who knows where you're going to go? But is one licensing agreement and one model work for everything, or do you have to be? Is it criteria specific to every spot that you're?
No. Fortunately, while the industries are different, the model is the same. We go in initially, we sell equipment to prove that it works. And we're doing that in all three of these industries: algae, because we haven't stopped with algae.
Sure.
The oil and gas fracking industry, which is ongoing. I can talk to you more about that. And finally, aquaculture. So that's all ongoing. Right. Now, where we go from here is we name OEMs. What's an OEM? An original equipment manufacturer.
Yep.
When Alpine makes a radio and puts it in a BMW, it has a BMW brand.
Yep.
So what you're doing is you're offering to let them private label you.
Exactly. And then ultimately get master licensees for each category. We're hoping that, for example, in fracking, perhaps an Anadarko might just become our licensee the same way Halliburton licensed someone from Seattle for their technology.
Whoever's got the distribution.
Exactly.
That way you're not worried about sales at that point.
Amen.
I mean, because the toughest part for you guys you guys have done the heavy lifting so far. Now you want to find somebody who's got the clients as opposed to going to individual clients. Piece of the pie is better than none of the pie, especially a bigger pie, right?
Look, small cap companies make a big mistake when they try and capitalize heavily. You see them again and again. Oh, we're building a big manufacturing plant in Oregon and so forth.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Let someone else do it.
Exactly. So that we're not built for $500 million raises. We've raised most of the money now. We're done. Now we're commercializing the company. And from here on out, you could say the death march is over and we're finding traction commercially.
It's a much smarter way to leverage yourself, really, isn't it?
Well, at the end of the day, I get to go home and get some sleep.
Yeah.
Well,
There you go.
so talk to us. And I think that and I do want to get into the fracking side of things. I want to do that after the break. But where do you guys go next in respect to sort of where you are along the line of the business plan? So obviously we've got proof of concept. Obviously we have multiple industries that we weren't in before. Is it, do you sit back now? Do you stop down and sort of let it percolate and decide which one comes up, or do you guys just continue putting your head down like what you've been doing so far?
Okay, we're flat out commercializing. What I mean by that is we now have 3 full-time salespeople, whereas at the beginning of the summer we had none. So we're going flat out to sell in these 3 vertical markets. Initial proof of concept sales to the early adopters, the single decision maker who goes, heck yeah, I want that because it's going to put me ahead of the other guys, right? And we got that done. And in fact, I have a clip for you after the break.
Yeah, I want to see that.
Of this farm down in Thermal, California. Thermal is a good word. It was 109 degrees when they did
Yeah,
this.
Thermal California is in the desert on the way out, I think, to Vegas or something. I mean,
On the way to Salton
On the way to
Sea.
Salton Sea, that's right. I mean, it is out in the middle of nowhere.
Indeed.
But you've got video proving your proof of concept on with no FDA approval, by the way.
Well, it's not a medical device.
No, but that's the point. But I mean, if somebody gave me a glass of water that used to have ammonia in it, I want you to see this video. And if you're listening to us on the radio, the video is available at originoil.com.
It will be.
Right?
This is actually a pre-clip. This is a
Okay,
scoop.
All right.
But there's a photo on our website showing what we show.
All right, stand by there. We'll take a look at that when we come back from the break at 21 past the hour. Riggs is going to talk to us about that, as well as this, the oil and gas side of these things, because that has not gone anywhere, and I think that's important to see. In fact, one of the, I think you sent me an article about someone getting in trouble.
Yeah,
for,
well, the EU industrial ministers come out and said the industry there is in strife because they won't frack.
they won't frack. What the frack? Come on.
We won't be fracked again.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. All right. Riggs Eckelberry, Origin Oil, originoil.com, stock symbol OOIL. OOIL. Check out this video we're going to talk about at 21 past the hour. And oil and gas, algae, aquaculture. What's next? We'll hear that. Big Biz Show, bigbizshow.com. Riggs Eckelberry is with us today. He's the CEO of Origin Oil. OOIL is their stock symbol, originoil.com, and you can check out almost every one of his appearances on his website that he does here in the Big Biz Show. We've been following him for about 6 months now, sort of, as to pull the covers back on a publicly traded company and see what it's like, and it's great to watch you guys, kind of go through everything that you've gone through so far, and now you've got to the point now where you have you're now delving into something that your brother, who's the chief inventor of the company, they told him it was almost impossible to remove ammonia from water. And that's important for a number of reasons. Number one, the aquaculture reason. But number two, it take days to remove ammonia from water before, and you guys can do it in seconds? Is that the idea?
You've got a choice. You can either run the ammonia through filtering ponds, lily ponds, and so forth.
Right.
It takes weeks, actually.
Weeks, okay.
Or you can run biofilters, which is very expensive, and you have to rotate the entire pond volume every day through those biofilters.
So it's almost like a water transfusion every day.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
those filters have to be changed and so forth. It's very expensive stuff.
So you guys have your clean-frac, the electrostimuli system. What do you guys call that thing? What's the exact?
Electro-water separation.
Electro-water separation. I'm not.
We're going to separate you.
Yeah, that's right. Electro-water separation. How long does it take you guys to remove ammonia?
About 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Down from, what was a day?
Can I just tell you this? That would be better.
You think?
That's better. I want to go that way.
That's quicker.
Show us talk to us about the video. And if you're on radio here, this
in the
video can be
spirit
seen at
of
originoil.com.
pulling back the covers.
Okay.
This is some early footage of my brother down in Thermal last Thursday. They set aside a pond that was nicely, look at that messed up
Okay,
pond.
so if on radio, what we're looking at is if you were to look at a algae-filled swimming pool, that would look better than what these fish are swimming in right now.
Now,
And,
cut to, it's going to go very quickly because this is just a pre-clip. But he's telling us right now that he's talking about ammonia levels and how that can basically completely choke the fish. But after we treat it, guess what? Check this out.
So the water comes out, and he's drinking out of it through a hose. That's your brother drinking that water
Yeah,
through a
he's
hose.
still alive too.
Wow.
He's still alive.
That's amazing.
Good news.
So how long from so obviously this is it's kind of a time sort of a capsule here. You saw it kind of before and after. How long did it take to clean that which was the size of about it looked like about a swimming pool.
No, okay, so it goes through basically something like looks like a Patriot missile array, a bunch of tubes,
Yeah.
all at once, zoom, and in a few seconds, literally, it comes out the other end. It's a real-time process. So as fast as it comes in, it comes out. We were doing about 50 liters a minute at one point there. So 50 liters a minute, it comes in, comes out. So it's seconds.
Yeah, and the interesting part of this now would someone argue that you remove too much stuff out of the water? I mean, can the fish still live in there? I mean, is because what I saw there, when I see that kind of grody water where fish are, I'm thinking, well, that's lots of good stuff they can eat. And when you see clear water, is there still stuff they can eat in there? Is that an issue?
Well, yes, it's a very good question because, of course, ammonia you can't get rid of enough.
Right.
But in that pond, there was a lot of algae.
Right.
And you don't want to get rid of the algae.
Right. Well, the hatchlings love the algae because they can absorb it through their gills. But the larger fish get choked by the algae. So at some point, once they grow, you got to get the algae out. And fish farmers had a problem. They didn't know how to harvest the algae.
So it's a pretty delicate balance there.
But with our system, they can run it through the algae harvester.
Yep.
And they got algae they can pelletize and then feed at 1/3 the cost of fish meal and far, far healthier than that crappy garbage fish they use for fish
So
meal.
you clean it and they put the good food back in again,
Exactly.
essentially, when they need it for the right time and the evolution of the fish.
Exactly.
Right.
The interesting part about this thing is that we have you have multiple industries here. You've got this oil and gas. You've got this aquaculture. Aquaculture, who's going to be your biggest customer at that point? Is it just fish farms, or is it somebody above higher on the food chain?
Eventually, it's an equipment provider, perhaps a pump manufacturer, somebody who's already providing equipment to these fish farms. For now, we're selling to the more adventuresome fish farms that want to try this out because we're making it ourselves.
Well, plus at the same time, it's proof of concept for you guys, right? I mean,
Exactly.
I mean, which is kind of part of the evolution of the product, and once you have several. Not even several. Once you have a couple of home runs on that, with people successfully using that, then you can go to the equipment manufacturers, and then that's where the OEM
License,
comes
yeah.
out of it. And then suddenly you're just one of the carburetors that goes on the pump.
On Thursday, we had a full inspection team checking the numbers because we need numbers ASAP to show in these licensing deals and also to show to fish farmers.
How do you break the door down? I mean, because obviously what you're saying is so contrary to what these poor people have had to go through before. I mean, these fish farms have, I mean, you have, this is typical capitalism. When Steve Forbes came on the air with us last year and said, you find a need and fill it. You have found a need and filled it. And it's been a tough one because these guys not only, they're having a hard time getting ammonia out of the water, they've got to have this delicate balance of algae and for the hatchlings and the bigger fish and so on and so forth. You've come in and you've solved this problem in seconds. How do you beat that door down? Because it almost sounds too good to be true, even though it's not.
Well, my background in high tech, taught me that disruptive technologies are a hard way to get in unless you get enthusiasts. You got to get a champion, right?
Right,
Yeah.
sure.
On our site is a video about the aquaculture thing that we did a demo a few months ago. And in that video, a veteran, Rocky French, who's been in the business forever, says if we'd had this in the 70s, the game would be totally different.
So he's a hero in the industry as well.
Exactly.
Right.
He's already a hero. He's well known. And he has begun to endorse this because that's his farm
Right.
where this is happening. And from there, we're just going, again.
It's always having a friend in the business. That's what it
A
comes
friend
down
in
to.
the business,
A friend in the business. Well, but the point, if you
Rocky
think
sent me.
That's right. And if you think about that, that's the next Genesis for you guys. 30 seconds or less. What do you think? What's your next? What can we expect from you guys next?
Revenue, revenue, revenue. We are on a revenue march all the way,
Boy, that's
pushing
nice.
for commercial.
That's nice because you weren't in a revenue march 6 months ago. You guys were still in sort of recall recognition, sort of figuring out where we are.
It's called a death march for a reason.
Well, yeah, but you got through that, and that's good. All right, we'll keep on taking a look at it. Riggs, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you.
For being generous with your time. Riggs Eckelberry, Origin Oil, OOIL is the stock symbol, originoil.com. Keep an eye on this one. Lots of cool video on their website, by the way. We'll put some of the links on our website to your website.